divisional round of the playoffs was, I would say, just as exciting as the wildcard round. Definitely produced different kind of results, but overall it was amazing. I ended up going two two out of four for the week. The two of my picks hit, the other two didn't. So overall for the playoffs right now, I'm 8 for 10, which not bad. Things are looking up for me for my at least Super Bowl pick, but maybe not the Super Bowl matchup. But let's just get straight into it. With the first game I want to talk about is the Buffalo Bills heading to Denver. Crazy game. Honestly, not the game I expected. I mean, if you pictured a 30-30 game with how going into the end of the game, you would have expected, I think, a different outcome. But Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. The Bills defense played good in spots, but they didn't let up on the back end. I don't like. I think it was a lot of back and forth in this game, but you got the sense that the Bills, when they were able to get a grip on the game, while I think Denver was still just playing their game. They relied a lot on their defense. They tried to run the ball, try to really focus on just moving the ball forward and just making plays. And at the end of the day, Denver made more plays than the Bills, and it allowed the Broncos to get the win. Now, I don't really want to. What comes from this game is, I think, more important than about the game. Because first, the Bills. Um, I'll talk more about it later, but Sean McDermott did get fired from this game, and I told in the second half, right before or in the first half, right before the the half ended, going into overtime. I was talking to my girl, and I was like, "Hey, in that moment, generally in the position you're in, it's okay to take a kneel and go into the half and recalibrate and get ready." But the Bills, for some reason, decided to make it aggressive and told Josh Allen to go do his thing. Ended up causing a fumble, putting Denver in a position to kick a field goal, and really, that was the definition of what the has been happening to the Bills for many years under Sean McDermott. Whether it's the 13-second game with Mahomes or Allen, not Allen's defense letting up over 30 points, or however you looked at it, it was always poor. It seems like a lack of coaching error with a lack of execution, stuff that needs to be. You need to focus more on getting Josh Allen in these big spots. I mean, I guess he's Superman, he's going to play well, but you need to have a coach that can coach some of this stuff, coach him up a little bit. I mean, you saw how May, Bo Nix, Caleb, they all have offensive minded coaches with them. I mean, you would say Rabel's a defensive guy, but he's got Josh McDaniels, which has more than enough experience on the offensive side of the ball to claim his spot and his part into the game. But you saw what all these different quarterbacks were able to do with that offense, with their offenses, and how turnovers really was the definition of this round. I mean, the wildcard weekend, a lot of games were close. They were competitive, except for maybe one one game, maybe two. You could say Steelers Texans weren't really competitive by the end, and then you could say Chargers Patriots by the end wasn't really competitive, but the game was still in hand most of the aspect of wildcard weekend. But once you get to the divisional rounds, I mean, we had blowouts, and you could clearly tell Allen's better than Bo Nix. I think we all could agree going into this game. But why I had Denver winning this game, for the main reason, was I trusted Sean Payton more. I trusted the coaching staff more. I thought coaching was going to have a lot to do with this game. And if you're giving me the option to choose Sean Payton or Sean McDermott, I'm going Sean Payton 10 out of 10 times. And that was really, I think, the difference of this game for both these teams. But at the end of the half, when they went all that, I looked at my girl and I said, "Hey, if the Bills lose this game, McDermott's going to get fired. That's a coaching error. You will get fired for an error like that." In the biggest spots, in the biggest moments, it's Harbaugh got fired. Someone Luke missing the kick didn't cause Harbaugh to get fired. It's many years of underwhelming success with an elite quarterback got him fired. I mean, let's put in reference: Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen. What you want to say about the young guys coming up? And if you want to put Stafford in that, you can. But I don't put Stafford because his ability with his legs isn't as there, and I think these four guys are a little more mobile. But those are your four defined elite quarterbacks in this league. Two of them have been to a Super Bowl, and only one of them have won, and he's won multiple times. But three of those guys weren't in this playoffs picture. Burrow was out real early and he was injured all season. Lamar was in and out of the lineup with injuries, and missed it by the Ravens missed it by a game. And then Mahomes, they had a rocky year all year, and then he gets hurt by the end, completely taking them out of it. So this was the best year to set up for the Bills and Josh Allen to go for it. And I had them very confidently winning wild card weekend, as much as I confidently had the Broncos winning it in divisional round. It was a team that was not built to compete at this level. I mean, you look at the weapons, I would say the Broncos don't have stellar weapons. I wouldn't I mean people don't give the Patriots a lot of credit for their weapons, but I say it's they're not much different. I mean, honestly, I think Keyshawn Booty's the best deep ball guy out of everyone on both those teams, and then Stephon Diggs is probably the overall best well-rounded receiver among both teams. So you probably would give New England the weapons, even though they get talked about. They don't get acknowledgement for their weapons, and Denver they don't. They kind of it's they get praise, but not a lot of praise. But Bills are even worse than both those teams. They have an older Brandon Cooks who's not really who they keep throwing jump balls to, and that's not his specialty. Shakir is really good. I mean, he's probably a number two on most teams, but he's the solid number one here. But he's been there a while. And then you just got Keon Coleman, who's been in and out of the lineup all year. That's something you have to figure out. And I mean, it's been healthy scratches, not injuries. It's just overall like temperament issues, and that's something he did not show early in his rookie year, but he's shown a lot now in his second year, which is really concerning. And it's just overall, this Bills team just did not put they just put it together. Their defense hasn't been the best. This defense probably played better than the what in the postseason than it has all year, and it still wasn't great. And offensively, I mean, you could barely get the tight ends involved consistently. I mean, Kincaid's probably their best pass catcher, and he's was a no-show at times. And Dawson Knox will make a play here and there, but he was a no-show. And James Cook, who led the league in running and fumbles for all running backs this season, which is a thing to note. And I mean, he wasn't able to do enough this game. None of the players showed up, and it was all on Josh Allen's shoulders. And time again, when it's all on Josh Allen's shoulders, you're either getting six touchdown Superman or you're getting multiple turnovers and he's still doing everything he can to keep you in the game, but he also at the same time is costing you the game. But you can't put that all on him because he has to do everything he can because if he's not trying to be Superman, they can't win. And if he isn't Superman, like I've said it before, they don't win if he's not Superman. And I told you the Broncos defense is they have enough pieces and enough playmakers on that defense where they were going to keep this game. They were going to keep themselves in this game. And that offense did enough to keep themselves in the game. So you gotta give props to Denver because they came in with a good game plan. And the Bills, McDermott deserved to get fired. Now I think the GM should be in a hot seat next year. You got to go hit on some draft picks. You got to go get some playmakers in this offense. You got to take the pressure off of Josh because clearly James Cook is a great running back. But you're not going to count on James Cook week in and week out as the only good target. And Kincaid clearly can't be the only receiving target. Like you have to have multiple guys that can go up and make big plays in big moments. And that's what they did not have. And that was the difference of these games. Is Denver they didn't need a guy to they didn't need one player to go up and make a big play. They just relied on schemes and coaching, and then having an offensive coach really divvies that up in a team where their head coach is more defense oriented, so that they're focused on making big defensive plays. And if you can't get them, then it's just out of it. Now, as for the Broncos, it was a win lose scenario. They may have won the game, but Bo Nix broke his ankle near the end of the game. No one realized it. Sean Payton came up after the game press conference, put it out there. His season's done. They will go. They will stay home, and New England will come to them, and they will be starting Jared Stidham. Now, Sean Payton's a good head coach. This guy clearly knows the system. So this game is I don't think is going to be as out of hand early as others may think. This could be very well a game that's a 14-17, a 10-13 kind of game going into the half. But when you're walking in with a backup quarterback against a really good head coach who coaches up that defense, and that defense is definitely playing very well. I would say playing above their talent level. I mean, they have some solid talent. Don't get me wrong. They are. I mean, Milton Williams has been a huge signing for them. People said they overpaid, but if they make another Super Bowl, that doesn't even look like an overpayment. And Christian Gonzalez playing like one of the best corners in the league, playing like one of the best corners in the playoffs right now as well. you have at least two star pieces like that, and then was it Chasem or Kasem or Chasm, whatever the first round pick a couple years ago from the Jaguars. He's playing lights out for this team, one of the best linebackers on this team, and then just all these different players really playing up. A second half, the defense settles in even more. It's going to be really hard for Jarrett Stidham to get going against the New England team, but we'll talk more about that later. But just for right now, Broncos did what they had to do to coach themselves in a win. I know next week Sean Payton's going to coach his ass off to put this team in position to win. I think they're just going to be outmanned. I think not walking in with your backup quarterback is almost a death sentence in this league right now. If this was the regular season, I would give the Broncos a chance. It being the playoffs, I think it's rough. I think it's rough either way for this team. Now the Bills got a lot to look forward to next season, and hopefully finding a good head coach, good offensive-minded head coach to get Josh Allen back to where Josh Allen and this team should be, which is a playoff contender and a division contender again next year. And as for the Broncos, hopefully Bo Nix's ankle injury won't put him out too deep into the offseason so he can come back and get ready for week one. And this Broncos team, whether they win this next game or make it to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, how the rest of the season pans out, they could prep for next season as well. But the next game I want to talk about is the other AFC matchup. The Texans win in to New England, take on the Patriots. Truth being told, this was my hardest game to bet. I ended up betting on both teams in different parlays, but for this podcast purpose, I went with the Texans. I thought with that elite defense, I thought Stroud had one bad game, he would bounce back. And I just think, and it was not anything against the Patriots because everyone watching this podcast, anyone that's seen any of the episodes, know I've from the beginning of the offseason or because right before the offseason, right before the beginning of the season, and throughout the season, I have praised the Patriots a lot. I said this is a team that is definitely going to perform to a better level. I like what they're putting out. I think they are a playoff potential wildcard team. Turns out they were even better than I thought. They were good enough to come in and win two playoff games. That's impressive for a second year quarterback with the first year Rabel being there. I mean, they turned this team around. They won the division. They've exceeded expectations, and I think not just for me, but I think for everyone. The receivers have performed better than you would expect. The lines hold up a little better. I still think we need another year of Will Campbell on the left side to see how good he is. He's just a rookie at that left tackle position, going to get some great talent throughout the season and the playoffs, getting a lot of he's getting a lot of battle scars, which is going to really help him progress next season. They have a pretty good two-headed running back system now that Henderson is really coming full form. It was kind of hard for them to run today, but they played a great defense. I mean, truth being told, they played a really good defense. And they're a playmaking defense. They forced some fumbles. I think they forced a total of 4, getting 2. So clearly the cold weather has affected both quarterbacks holding onto the ball. It was just a great showing for the Patriots overall, though. I mean, I liked Diggs showed up big in spots. Keyshawn Booty once again has been one of the best targets in the deep ball and just a playmaker for this offense. He is someone that really in his third season has really come on and has proven to be a vital piece to this offense. Um, and then Drake May, the poise. I mean, this is the best defense in the league that they went up against. And Drake May being able to sit in that pocket, know he's going to get hit, take the shots, sling the ball, put the ball into good positions, really letting his offense, the also offensive plan, stay engaged and keep rolling with it, and him not getting frazzled by a pretty intimidating defense. I mean, my caps off to him. I like May coming into the season, but being potential MVP more likely second in the race either way, that's impressive. What he's been able to do is just incredible. I am a huge Drake May supporter, and I'm a huge Patriots supporter with what they've got going forward. I think this team will be even better next season. They still got cap space, they still got draft picks, and they've hit on a lot of draft picks. This team is this is not the this season is only the beginning for this team. This is a team that is not going away anytime soon. Now, I'll talk about their matchup with the Broncos later, but I do like them favorable to win it. But let me talk about the Texans. First and foremost, That defense, props to them for what they've done all season. This team started 0-3. I'm pretty sure it was like 1-5 they started, and they were able to rack off all these wins in a row, and a lot of it based on that defense. I mean, Will Anderson Jr. is one of the best young defensive pass rushers in the league. I mean, he's already getting to the status of like the TJ Watts, Miles Garrett's, Max Crosby kind of level, Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to get a huge contract probably this off season. He's earned it. And Daniil Hunter's been the most underrated pass rusher in the league last couple of years and has really got his highlights here in Houston. Um, that defensive front, Sheldon Rankins leading that has been amazing. You look at the linebackers led by Al Shair, they all are fast to the ball, hitting hard. And then all the DBs, I mean, too many names. I mean, Stingley and Petrie and uh, Lassiter, like all of them making plays consistently and being involved. I mean, Patriots did what they could with what was given to them, and I have to say the inability of Texans offense to do a lot really favored the Patriots in this game and put a lot more pressure on this defense. But this defense still showed up. At the end of the day, this defense still showed up, and they played a really solid game. And they should. This is a defense you can move forward with next year. You just gotta get that offense right. Now, that's on me to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, Collinsworth said it best. It says it seems like Stroud has been, and this team has been relying off his rookie success since, and nothing's changed. It's like his development stopped. It's like he's the same quarterback that we saw his rookie season, and that doesn't bode well for an offense because you need to be able to grow and perform and be better than that. It's kind of like our biggest issue. It's very similar to like Jaden Daniels coming in this season. He was hurt most of the year, and he looked very similar to how he looked last year. It's like, how is he developing? How are we? Is he still? Is he going to be? Whenever someone has a young, good season, their first or second year, it's all projections from there. You're projecting how good they're going to be. You're saying, wow, they're like with Drake May and Caleb this season. They both have had phenomenal seasons, and the success they've put out and the skills that they have carries them forward, but you're projecting them. Now that you see what you've seen, you're projecting them to get better and see where they go from there. And that's what we did rookie season with CJ Stroud. We projected that he's a good quarterback and he's going to continue to progress, and that's why we hop on board. But now it's year. Now it's he's going into his fourth year. Probably not going to get an extension. Most likely going to pick up his fifth year option if things go well. I'm just saying it's something you have to debate now. Now this is back-to-back cold playoff games that he played. The things didn't go as planned. I mean, he turned the ball over how many times last week? I mean, he had multiple fumbles and turn. It was just bad. And I think they were playing a better defense maybe last week. Now this week, mean, I would say were playing. I don't know. I feel like the defenses are. Maybe this defense is better. Actually, I think the Patriots defense is better than the Steelers. Steelers may have more big names, but this Patriots defense, I think, is more committed. But you've seen what he did this week. 5 interceptions. I mean, he just kept throwing them the ball. I mean, shout out to Marcus Jones on the Patriots, who looked like a certified Hall of Fame game right there. Like, I don't know how his career is going to keep progressing or where he ranks all time, but that, if he can put a performance like that consistently, that's a Hall of Fame player right there. That it was phenomenal. He made plays not all day. His name was always being talked about. But a lot of that was Stroud putting in the ball in harm's way, bad. I mean, he was taking sacks. He was getting hit. I mean, that offensive line, I truly believe in the last year to this year, he's been hit a lot. And I think he's tired of getting hit. And I think it's rattling him. When the commentators and when people in halftime, when they're talking about there's a chance you might have to bench this guy, that's a serious thing. Because I was thinking the same thing too. I was thinking if he keeps playing like this, he looks rattled, he looks shook. Maybe you got to go to the backup and just see what happens. But if you plan to move forward with him, you probably can't do that. You just have to take it on the chin in this game. And that's what they did. They stuck with him. They took it on the chin. He didn't get any better. The first half was bad. The second half was bad. He looked, like I said, he looked rattled. Now you need to go out next season, and truthfully, this team needs to put him in a better position. They need to, I think, get a new offensive coordinator that is going to be better at actual quarterback development over just straight up play calling. I think they got a good play caller. I don't think they have a great developer. Going to get somebody like Cliff Kingsbury, who I think is a better developer. He's worked in college a lot, He's coached in college with young quarterbacks. He's come this league and he gave Jaden that really good rookie season. I think his overall development skills would really help on the offensive side of the ball. I think that would be the first change I would make for the Texans. Next, you got to get offensive linemen. He's getting hit way too much. A quarterback that gets hit this much, they just aren't the same. They can't, especially when they're. I wouldn't say he's the most talented quarterback out there. I put him more in the middle realm of quarterbacks. I'd say he's got more of that golf esque ability where if the pocket's clean, he can really deliver. That's what he's really good at. And so far, anyone that hasn't, let's say if you don't watch Texans football off season and you just watch these two games, you would say he's a bad quarterback. But I don't believe he's a bad quarterback. But I do believe the pass rush got in his head and being hit so much has gotten in his head, and he's not the same quarterback, and you have to coach that out. You have to coach that back up, and getting a good O line in front of him would, I think, really raise his confidence. Also, I think a consistent run game would really help. I think really bringing in a really good, strong new offensive coordinator that can develop him and create a game plan that's less on his shoulders would do him wonders for the rest of his career, not just next season, because he clearly needs developmental help. He's just not where he needs to be at this point in his career. And I blame that on coaching because you see the ability there. You see he can make throws, but throughout the season you can see it in his previous 2 years as well. But you just didn't see it in these two playoff games, and these are the biggest spots of the year. And this is where everything you do throughout the whole season needs to culminate and needs to be put out. So they got a lot to look into next season. And for the Patriots, I mean, just good luck. I'm we're so proud of what they've done. They should be proud of themselves as well. Next game I want to talk about is going up to the NFC. The game we all watched last night. Game that went into overtime, deep into that first overtime. A 17-20 victory by the LA Rams over the Bears in frigid cold weather. Honestly, the first thing I want to talk about more than anything, that throw Caleb made to Komet to tie the game and to help send that game into overtime. One of the greatest throws, one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. That was like, how many guys are doing that? I mean, Caleb back to back weeks now has made a play where it's like, how many guys are doing that? Truthfully, like Mahomes, maybe we'll see how he looks coming back from the injury. Josh Allen, maybe Herbert, but I'm not confident in that. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty next level. That what the Bears were able to put out was what they've been all season. They've struggled throughout the early game, and then they bring it home fourth quarter, and mostly through the last half of the season, really the last in the playoff games, that defense has really stepped up. I mean, give props to Dennis Allen for what he did for that defense. They were not forcing turnovers like they did all season, but they were keeping the game close, which clearly they liked their matchups. And they really were putting it to Puka and Devontae Adams, not letting them just get free and do whatever. They were making them work for every yard, every catch, which was excellent. Now, before I get to the Rams, let's focus on the Bears. Bears, I like what they did coming into the game. I think they had a good game plan. I think they could have used Caleb's legs a little more. I think Ben Johnson shies away from that a little bit, but that might also be his familiarity of having golf and not running the ball as much for the last 2 years. Now that you have a quarterback that's a little mobile, it's okay to let him break free and call quarterback run. He's clearly got the speed, and he's way more athletic on his legs than I thought. The way he was getting the edge, and that one, he had like a 22-yard run for a first down, that was incredible. Like that showed some speed and some. He had a good vision on the run. He runs a lot more like Josh Allen, and I think that's a good thing with his size. He could definitely factor that into his game plan more. He's going to have to improve on his completion percentage, but I think a lot of it wasn't today on him. I think it was a cold weather game and people had trouble catching the ball, and his receivers struggled to catch the ball, which I think is ridiculous. They practice in this weather, they play in this weather, and I mean, it was the rookies mostly, the young players, but DJ Moore clearly didn't. He's been in the league long. He was phenomenal. Komet, when he was throwing the ball, was great. But Loveland struggled to catch the ball all day. Burden struggled to catch it all day. Adunze struggled all day. Like, those receivers really let Caleb down because Caleb put some balls on the money and they just dropped them. I mean, you got touchdowns dropped. I mean, truthfully, if the Bears offensive players just caught the ball more, this game was probably a different story. So that's why it's really hard to put it all on Caleb. I know he turned the ball over 3 times, but one of them was a fourth down, so he was just trying to make something happen. One was a bad pass, but the other one wasn't terrible. I mean, truthfully, those 3 interceptions you are going to be kind of forgotten about after this game because that wasn't what was the difference of this game. Truthfully, I think the difference of this game was their defense unable to force a turnover, which is something they've done all season long. And then the offense just dropping passes left and right, putting them in tough, long field position and poor field position. Both teams were in great field position pretty much most of the game. But the Bears team and this organization and the fan base should all be happy. You more than doubled your wins from last year. You know you have your quarterback. You know you have your coach. You have more than enough talent on offense to compete for a division and in later in the season compete for a Super Bowl. I would believe so. You got a defense that has good pieces. I mean, Brisker has really proven to be a game changer and a playmaker for that defense. You get some other good draft picks on that defense, get some maybe draft capital, go spend some free agency, build that defense up a little bit. This is a team that really can compete next year. They should be more than happy. This is winning this game would have been a cherry, would just keep adding to a phenomenal season for them. But losing this game you should not hold your head down. Like, pick your head up. You had a great season. You exceeded a lot of people's expectations. And I'm telling you, even Bears fans would not have expected this to be how their season ended. A lot of them probably have been like, we'll be okay and miss the playoffs, or we're losing the wild card. No, you're competing in the divisional round of the playoffs, and you were competing until the end. So props to the Bears. You, I like this team a lot going forward. I really like Caleb Williams, and I was a huge Ben Johnson advocate. I honestly I was bullish on their defense, and I thought their defense would bring them down. Them forcing so many turnovers in the season really helped them win a lot of games. But that's not sustainable. You need a consistent defense that can not just make plays, but can get the opposing offense off the field. And I think that's something that they're going to really have to focus on doing is lowering how many points the opponent is scoring and the yardage that they're driving down on them, which is making their which just tires out of defense. As in for the Rams, I mean, what a performance! I mean, I don't think they played a perfect game. I mean, you look across the board, I don't think anyone was phenomenal, but they did one thing very well in the game. That is just the Bears were the best defense at turning the ball over, like I mentioned throughout the whole regular season, and they didn't turn not one turnover. Kyrie Williams and Blake Corum did not put the ball on the ground not once. None of the receivers fumbled. Stafford held on to the ball, no picks. Like this whole all the offense was just they really played a very nice clean game. And even though I picked the Bears to win and they had that big comeback, once it went into overtime, I kind of felt like I should have just cashed out. I mean, I was stubborn, but I felt like the Rams were going to win it. I really did. It felt like it was the Rams game to lose. They were playing such a clean game. They were running it well. The Bears receivers just could not catch the ball. The Rams defense was really getting home at times and really stuffing the run. I think that was a big thing. Bears had one of the best rushing attacks in the league and could not run the ball consistently all game. The cold actually, I think, didn't favor either team. And once it started snowing, Stafford was actually passing even better once it turned from rain to snow. So I honestly thought the weather would be more of a factor. I thought the Bears defense was going to force more turnovers. And truthfully, I thought the Bears were going to put up more points. But this was not the game I expected. And that's how it goes sometimes. Rams were able to pull it out. And I just have to say that this is a team that is going to go to Seattle with a lot. They feel like still a lot to prove against a very well versed Seattle team. The third time they're going to match up this season, and it's going to be a good one. But next, I want to talk about the last game, the Niners going to Seattle, which I saved this for last because truthfully, there's not much to say. I mean, what was it, 6-41, 9-4? It was dominant performance by Seattle. I mean, I told everyone that Niners just were gassed and weren't. This was like that was my second W of the weekend was choosing Seattle in this game, and I knew it early. I mean, Kenneth Walker rushed for 9 touchdowns. Props for him, tying a franchise record. Darnold had an oblique injury. People thought he wasn't going to be able to throw. He looked fine. I mean, he didn't have to do anything special. The game was so out. This is what Seattle has done all year, though. I mean, they opened the game with a kick return for a touchdown, which shows that trade for Shaheed was one of the best trades made the whole season. Like all season long, That was the trade. That was the difference maker. Him trading to that team opened up that offense, opened up that special teams immediately. I mean, since he's been there, I think he's had 3 returns, 2 kickoffs, and a punt. Like he's been just phenomenal for this team. That defense all year long has been get helping this offense get going early, scoring either on defense or scoring on special teams or even setting up possible good field position from turnovers. They've all season have done this where they got up heavy early on an opponent and there's just nothing the opponent can do. The opponent's sitting there like, wow, now we have to become one dimensional. And the thing is, the 49ers are not a one dimensional offense. They run the ball with McCaffrey. Purdy can make some quick, good plays, and they just rely on schemes and well, Christian McCaffrey. Well, they were they used all their steam and their gas against Philly, and then Seattle just capitalized on that. Seattle had the weak rest. They had the healthier team coming in, not just based on rest. They were just a healthier team. This defense has been high flying all season long. And this offense has good weapons. Now, they're not great weapons, but they have really good weapons. JSN's a great superstar, elite talent weapon. Kenneth Walker is a above average, I would say good to great running back. Charbonnet's a good running back. I mean, you look at and then you got everyone. I mean, Cooper Cup. I mean, at his age, he's more of just a possession receiver than anything. But he came up in big in certain spots, and that's something that you're gonna have to look into next week. Is if JSN really is going to be the main focus of eliminating him from their offense next week of the Ram when they play the Rams. Getting Cooper Cup open is still a very viable option. It's just it was just a great showing on Seattle overall. I have nothing too much to say. I mean, I said to everyone, I said, looking at the matchup for the NFC, this is my Super Bowl pick for the NFC, and this is just my Super Bowl champ in general. I think they're just that good. But let's focus on Seattle before I get to some other stuff. Seattle, I mean, the Niners, my bad. Focus on the Niners. First and foremost, you overachieved this season. Most people thought this was a retooling, rebuilding year. You guys weren't supposed to be in this spot. You guys weren't supposed to win a playoff game. I mean, truthfully, you weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. Most people didn't see that. You guys just looking at the roster, this was not a roster built to win as many games as you did, especially losing Nick Bosa so early and then losing Fred Warner still pretty early. I mean, this defense lost, and then like I keep saying, you lost Greenlaw and Ufunga in the free agency, so your 4 best defensive players aren't on the team. But look what you did. You got to the divisional round. And Brandon Ayuk wasn't in the building all season. You got rid of Debo Samuel. He's gone. So your number one receiver, Ricky Pearsall, didn't play all season. He was hurt. So you had Jennings, you had Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne. Hell, Purdy didn't play most of the season. You had Mac Jones for a handful of games. You had Christian McCaffrey every week, and he put on great numbers and a great performance. But Kittle wasn't there every week either, and he's one of the best targets on their team, and he didn't play in this game. The injuries. I mean, Ton just got banged up, and he lost the ball. I mean, it just throughout the game, it was Seattle game. You were beat up and brutalized, and you pulled it out because you wanted it more and you played harder. You were just a better team. They walked into this game, and you could see they were hanging on to that last breath, last bit of hope, and I think it all just dissipated the moment you saw Shaheed run all the way back and score a touchdown on the opening kickoff. You knew what game this was going to be. You knew that they were going to come at you, and there was nothing you could do about it, and that's what happened. Purdy couldn't withstand that great. I mean, even the pass rush wasn't always getting home, but there was no one open. And without having an elite receiver or an elite tight end, they weren't going to get open. I mean, they make plays here and there, but it never amounted to anything. McCaffrey was in and out of the lineup. He got banged up throughout the game. Tom just, like I said, was banged up. Trent Williams wasn't 100%, and the rest of the linemen aren't that great. I mean, and that defense finally they were just done. They overachieved all season. They couldn't overachieve anymore. They were going against an offense and a defense that just schematically knew what they wanted to do and personnel wise. I told you they're just outpersoned. Just at the end of the day, when that matchup, they were just Seattle just had more people that could make plays, and Niners just did not have that at this moment. Now, depending on what the Niners do going into next season, could be a different story. But they overachieved this season. They should be damn proud where they ended up. that was a tough loss, and that loss is going to sit with some of these players. But hey, you there's a good chance you lost to the future Super Bowl champion, so that's not so bad. But that was the 4 games for the divisional weekend. I will talk about the championship games in just a moment. But first, let's talk about some coaching changes. I already mentioned Sean McDermott got fired, but also announced yesterday, more likely than not, Kevin Stefanski has accepted and will probably sign a contract sooner or later to be the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. Great move. I don't know if Penix is the guy. I don't know if they're rocking with Cousins. I don't know the quarterback situation. But when you have a guy that I think has proven he can be a really good play caller, and he's made the playoffs 2 years, one with Baker, one with Flacco, winning 2 Coach of the Years. I mean, he's high level mind on the offense. I think it's very his time in Cleveland did not express it well. I think he did not. There was decisions made that he didn't like. There was things he had to run with he didn't want to do. There was a lot of controversy, I think, following what was being told to the ownership, to the general manager, to him, and what was how much power he actually had over his actual roster. I think in Atlanta he's got great pieces. They got I think re-signing Pitts is going to be important for this offense. They got Drake London, they got Bijan, Tyler Algier. This is a team that can really rely on their weapons and needs, and I mean needs to have a positive winning record this season. I mean, this is cannot be another 8, 6, 7, 8 win team. It cannot be. Not with what this team has put on, and not being truth being told, that defense wasn't bad either. I mean, James Pierce was one of the best rookie pass rushers in the league last year. I mean, he was a great rookie pass rusher. I mean, he can be a really good centerpiece to build around on this defense. And you already got AJ Terrell back there, was a really good defensive piece. I mean, you have this defense really played well overall. So Kevin Stefanski is walking into a really good coaching room. Next, John Harbaugh got hired by the Giants. I figured that's where he was going to go. I thought it was his best option. Clearly, he likes Jackson Dart, and I do too. You got the running back in Scatterboo, and Tyrone Tracy's a great backup. That's a good two-headed monster you can work with. You got Malik Neighbors, who's going to be coming off an injury, but he should be back in full form by the offseason and week 1. You got Wandale Robinson, who's proven he can be a solid 2 or 3 if you want to bring in another guy. He's proven he can be a solid piece. Tight end Theo Johnson has a good connection with Dart, so you can really rock with him. And Isaiah Likely's going to free agency. Maybe you can convince Likely come on board for the Giants. That would be good. And their front seven is one of the best in the league. And you build on that back end of the defense. That Giants team could be one of the best teams in the league next year. A lot of it goes on if Harbs is Bram Munkin, who's probably coming with him, can really get Jackson Dart to be the quarterback. I believe, and I think they believe Jackson Dart can be. Um, Next, Mike Tomlin stepped down for the Steelers. I know that's already been in the news there, but I don't think I talked about it much. At least I don't believe it happened for the last podcast. But I think it was time. He's been talking about going to the media for a while. I think it was just time for him to move on. Steelers' job is definitely an interesting job to take. I'm just want to just say congrats to Tomlin on a successful, I would say successful 19 years. Never had a losing record. Won a Super Bowl, multiple uh beginning the latter half wasn't as good as the beginning half, but overall he's brought some teams to the playoffs that didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Point blank period. His coaching, what he's done as a coach, I don't know if he's coached long enough to be considered a Hall of Fame coach, but he definitely should be in the conversation. And what we've heard about the Titans job, Mike McCarthy has gone out to dinner with the ownership and the general manager, and they looks like they're really trying to wine and dine to get Mike McCarthy, and I think that'd be a phenomenal hire. I think if you can get him there and get his fingers all over the offense, you could really see how good Cam Ward is, because we couldn't view him fairly last season. But with the remaining jobs, I ranked them real quick. I just want to run through what I think are the best, how we rank the 8 coaching opportunities that are open right now. I think the number one easily is the Ravens. You got Lamar Jackson. You got a pretty much ready to go defense that just needs a pass rusher. You got a pretty much ready to go offense that really just needs retooling on the guards. Maybe a big body wide receiver, but if they get Tez Walker going, you know, but this Ravens team's got a lot of pieces. They just need a head coach. And they need a head coach that can work well with our general manager, our ownership, and this team and Lamar Jackson. Offense coordinator, defense coordinator are also going to be important coming in. But I think whoever we hire as head coach will primarily take over the play calling for one of those aspects, and then we'll hire a really good person underneath him. So I think that's just the top job. Number two is the Bills. You got, once again, a elite quarterback in Josh Allen, and I think you got a roster you can really work with, and you're coming in, you have no ties to some of these players. You can feel more freely to maybe cut some of the players you would. Like Trey White came back to the franchise. He didn't play that well. He was okay, but he wasn't great. You might feel comfortable letting him go just because you realize you don't really need him. You can feel comfortable not bringing Gabe Davis back. Like there's certain guys that just like their time here is done, and a new coach can come in and can make some of the tougher calls that maybe McDermott wasn't able to make. Number three is the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a great opportunity. You know, Spytech, the general manager, is really going to be heavy in getting pieces for this team. They got Brock Bowers, they got Max Crosby, they have Asher Genti, they have the number one overall pick. They have a This is a team that can be ready for a quick turnaround if they get the right coach, and it can be a 2-3 year turnaround with the right coach. And if Mendoza's, which probably is going number one, is going to be the quarterback. Number four is the Titans. I think it's just they have over $100 million in cap space, and they have what they would feel maybe their franchise quarterback. So you got two really good benefits on that team. I think no matter how it's laid out, you got good potential there. So I think that's a great job opportunity. Uh, why I think it's not as maybe good as the other jobs, you don't have you at least with the Raiders, you can come in with your guy, because if you're going to take that job, you got to take the job knowing that Mendoza is the quarterback you want. While for the Ravens and Bills, you're coming in with those jobs knowing that you got an elite quarterback. Titans, you have a quarterback, you don't know how great he is, but you can bring in a quarterback that can help tap all this potential. That'd be amazing. The fifth best job is the Steelers. I think the organization is very trustworthy with their head coach. They give their head coach time. They are they let their head coach have a lot of power. I think it's a great spot for the head coach in that aspect. But as in the roster, defense is old and expensive. The offense is not skilled overall, and they have no quarterback. So you're walking to a team that it's almost going to be a bottom up rebuild. You're going to have to trade away some pieces. You have to cut some players. You're going to have to really. I mean, you're starting from the scratch. I mean, this organization is going to give you time to do it, though, and I think that's the biggest advantage. So I think it's one of the five best openings, but it can't be one of the top threes or even top four at the moment. I think it's just you got time to rebuild, but you have to probably gut this roster and really make it tape shape into a once again more modern day NFL roster. Number six is the Browns. I think if you like Shadur, this could be a higher job. If you're not so sure about Shadur, it could be lower. But you come in with a really dominant defense. You know Miles Garrett's going to be there. Denzel Ward's going to be there. Um, all their young guys that really have stepped up on that defense. I mean, they just have a really good defensive unit. They have one of the better defensive pass defenses in the league, and they have a great pass rush. So that's something you're walking into. And they on their offense, I mean, you're not thrilled about their weapons, but their rookie tight end, 44, was it Fannin? I think it was Hannon. Yeah, he Fannin Jr. Yeah, I think that's who it was. He played was really well, so you know you got that piece, and your running game was really good when Judkins before he got hurt. So you got some pieces there to work with. You just the quarterback, I think, is the question mark. Is Shadur the guy? You're going to have to find that out, and that's a rough one. Number seven, I got Miami. Once again, you walk into a situation where there's a quarterback there, but do you love that quarterback? I think most of the roster is not great. I mean, who knows if Tyreek's going to play this year or if he's going to play again. Jalen Waddle, I think, regressed last season. You need to get him back into form. You got a tight end that's still a veteran tight end in Waller, but he's not who he once was, and he's more of just a red zone guy now more than anything. But you do have a good running back room. You have a okay defense. You have stuff you can work with. I think there's so much that you have to still figure out. The ownership is not the best, and I think the biggest issue is Tua. If you like Tua, taking that job isn't bad. But if you're not a Tua fan taking that job, now you have to run into an issue with the quarterback, an issue with what you're doing there. It's just really difficult. And then last on the list, I think the worst opening is Arizona. The ownership is not great. They haven't been drafting well overall. You don't know if Kyler Murray may not be there next year, so you may not know who your quarterback is, and if Kyler is there, clearly the organization is not happy with having Kyler there, so it's going to be turbulence the whole first year if Kyler's there or if he's not there. The defense is underperformed. I think it's an underrated defense with underperforming talent, and that was reflecting on the coach. I think they have talent that can be better, but they definitely underperformed. I think their weapons on offense are okay, so I think you walk into that is pretty good. I mean, Michael Wilson really stepped up near the end of the season. Trey McBride's a all pro tight end, and Marvin Harrison Jr. can be a high level receiver with, I think, the right schemes and the right coach. But there's so much that has to go right on the coaching side of things for Arizona to be a good job, which makes it hard. You know, you're coming. It's kind of like I said with the Steelers. You're coming in. You're really gonna have to, or Miami. You're like those three. You're coming into those buildings, and you have a lot you have to work through right away. As in, like with the Ravens or the Bills or even the Raiders, or you're coming to these jobs. There's not as much you have to do. I mean, the Raiders, yeah, there's things you have to do, but you already know you have the number one pick, so you already have an idea who your quarterback's going to be. You have some really good talent overall on both sides of the ball, so you can work with that stuff. You come into these organizations that don't have a lot of talent, that haven't been drafting very well, so they're not setting you up for future talent, and they may not have a quarterback. It really puts you in a tough position, especially if they have a quarterback and you don't like the quarterback. Then it's really a tough position where you have to find a way to trade him, or do you cut him, or who are you going to draft a quarterback, or are you going to run a year with him, let it run its course, and then prepare for next season? Like, but those are how I have the remaining jobs ranked for right now. And now let's talk about lastly before we wrap this up, championship weekend. For the AFC Championship, the New England Patriots will travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. Broncos are putting Jarrett Stidham out there, and I'm just going to cut it clean and be as precise as I can be. The Patriots are going to win this game. The Patriots have the better quarterback. I would say right now they have the better. I would say it's a toss up in the coaching staff. I give Sean Payton the edge, maybe in head coach, because I like what he can bring to the team a little better. But Vrabel brings a lot, and having, I mean, if you really want to compare it, it's almost Sean Payton against Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel. So it's you you don't want to give the edge in coaching either way. I think they're just their offensive mind with of McDaniels and his experience in playoff games is overwhelming compared to so many other coaches just current still in the playoffs. I think the defenses are both really good. I think the Broncos defense has shown up okay, but they've regressed at the latter half of the season. I don't think they're as good as they were starting the season. I don't know what went wrong there. Maybe it's a lack of belief in the offense, which I feel like that would be. I don't think it's that. This defense has not performed at the same rate it was performing early in the season, but it's still a playmaking defense, and that's something you still have to worry about. But on the other side, the Patriots defense, I think, is a playmaking defense. They got a good playmaker up front. They got good playmakers in the backfield, and they've proven across the whole defense that they're a unit, and they're a unit that play depth guys, and they're just they're deep in all aspects of the defense. Their linemen get tired. Next substitution, they got fresh guys in that can make plays. Same with the defensive back. Guys get tired, rotate them out. You bring guys fresh, make plays. That's something that not many teams have at this point of the season based on injuries and stuff. I trust the Patriots offense better with their starting quarterback and all their starters. I trust their defense more. I just overall I trust them more. This is just a game where I have to put trust in a team, and I cannot put trust in a backup quarterback that has not thrown the ball like consistently. Like, not just talking about practice, but in a game in over a year. I don't know about practice, but I know he has not played a game in at least over a year. You can't trust him out there. And that's just sad to say. I know Sean Payton's going to, like I said, Sean Payton's going to do his thing. It's going to look close early. But as you get deeper in the game and you got to have it moments, who's going to make the I got to have it plays? Is the guy that is in the MVP race, or a guy that was a backup all season? Just saying. Next, we got the Rams going to Seattle. Now, this is a tough matchup. I have Seattle winning this game, and I have Seattle probably taking the Super Bowl. I just think they're the better team. I think I like everything about this. But Rams got the better quarterback. Weapons wise, I probably lean towards the Rams. Kyron, Blake Corum, Devontae Adams, and Puka. I mean, there's not many better receiving cores out there with you put Puka and Devontae Adams at 1 and 2. I mean JSN and Cup. No matter how great JSN is, and he just had a potential offensive player of the year season, but so did Puka. And then if you're putting at number 2, Cup's a good possession guy. but he's not who he was. And Devontae Adams is still playing at a very high level, and he is a red zone threat. And running the game, I think Kenneth Walker is the best of all three running backs. Well, I would say all four running backs. But if you're really ranking, it's probably Kenneth Walker, Kyrie Williams, Blake Corum, then Charbonnet. So toss up. I think the Rams' offensive line is really big and powerful, which really helps the run game. I think Seattle's offensive line is not as good, but still very talented. But I think it's going to come down to defenses. And I think it's what has proven to be the way they've won. The Rams defense has a great pass rush. They're really good at stuffing the run late in the game, especially. But their DBs are still a liability. Like I said, if the Bears receivers and tight ends and their weapons did not drop as many balls as they dropped, we could be having a different discussion of Chicago going to Seattle. Now, they're playing against the Rams are playing against a better secondary, and truth and the Bears secondary was really able to manage the weapons there. With a better secondary that caused a lot of problems for Purdy and the Niners is going to cause problems for Stafford and the Rams. And then on the other side, Darnold doesn't have to be Superman to win. He doesn't have to do Josh Allen shit. He doesn't. He has to go out there, manage the game, put the ball where it needs to go, and just let his team do its thing. The Rams DBs are not great. Who is covering JSN? Like, who is seriously going to lock him down? They're going to have to play double coverage on him most of the game, which is going to free up AJ Barner. It's going to free up Cup, and proven all their other receivers that I can't name off the top of my head that most people can't. All can get involved. What is it? Bobo and I want to say Horton is the other one. Like they get open. They can make plays. Like I just think it's just an I think once again you're walking to a matchup where Seattle's just got the team, they got the unit, they got the guys. I love what they've done on defensively, way more than I like what the Rams do defensively. And I think what they do offensively is very sustainable because I think they can force. They don't have to. Darnold doesn't have to win them the game. As for the Rams, Stafford kind of has to win them the game. And I trust Stafford in those moments, but at the same time, when you have to win the game against a playmaking elite defense, it could really not turning the ball over against the Bears was excellent. They're going to turn the ball over against Seattle. That's going to happen. Now, the other big thing in this game is the Rams have had a terrible special teams most of the season. They've had punts blocked. They've had returns on them. Their special teams is not great. I mean, they struggled with kicking issues up until they got Mevis, who's been a really good kicker for them. But they're still not 100% confident in him as deep as they would maybe some other kickers in this league. Seattle special teams has been one of the best in the league. And with Rashid Shaheed out there, if you don't think he's going to return a punt or a kickoff, I'd be you're stupid. Like you have to expect that he has the ability to put Seattle in great field position every time he touches that ball on special teams. This is just a game. I think it's going to come down to what has been consistent all year, and that's something I've said last podcast, and I'll say it again. Consistency is everything in this league, and Seattle consistently throughout the season has done the same thing they've done every single game to every single opponent. Not always transition to wins, but it's been enough where I am very confident in them moving forward. I got Seattle winning this game, so I got it being a New England Seattle Super Bowl. I think even based on how those teams play next week, I don't care how you chop it up. Those two teams right there are going to give us a hell of a Super Bowl, and I'm giving it to Seattle. I'm still hitting home with that. But that was divisional week for us. We're going to championship week. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and thank you.